007 fans, Greeny here to explore some head-scratching moments in the James Bond series. Now let's face it, I think more people have seen at least one James Bond movie than not. I've been a fan since 1984 when I first saw Moonraker on VHS. I've seen every Bond movie in the theater since The Living Daylights, and over the years have become a pretty hardcore fanatic of the 007 franchise. But to all of us who are die-hard fans, we all have to admit there are some moments in the series that are not perfect. Okay, some moments are downright embarrassing. Sometimes a good idea for the sake of making it funny or more interesting just goes too far. Let's explore my list of the top 20 what the f*** moments from the James Bond series. Number 20. Blofeld Body Doubles from Diamonds Are Forever. Now this didn't bother me when I was a kid because I like the fantasy within the idea to have self-made doppelgangers. But as I've gotten older, this idea is just ridiculous. I mean, we already seen this in Thunderball, and it was much more convincing in that movie. Number 19. Bond in Space from Moonraker. Just utterly ridiculous considering how much training is needed before someone can handle a flight into space and even understand how to work the controls on a space shuttle. Bond approaches it like he goes in space every day and it is no big deal. Of course, with the big success of Star Wars and then Star Trek the Motion Picture, it only made sense to put Bond up there too and use the Ian Fleming title for the film. Number 18. Falling from an Antenna and Surviving from GoldenEye. I love the climax to this movie and the fight between 007 and 006, but the odds of Trevelyan surviving that drop is just not possible. You even see his leg break on impact with the ground if you look fast enough. He would not be laying there looking around. I know they did this to keep him alive long enough for the satellite to explode and crash down on him, but I'm merely looking at the dispelling of logic on this scene. Number 17. Bond turning Japanese and getting married from You'll Only Live Twice. This completely slows the movie down. It is unnecessary and could certainly be taken out to move things along to the third act. I don't think this idea has aged well either. Number 16. Strawberry Fields Getting Oiled from Quantum of Solace. This was also unnecessary. They could have found a better way to kill her off than ripping off Goldfinger and changing the death device from gold paint to oil. Just tacky writing. Sometimes paying a tribute to an older Bond film comes off as an insult if not done properly, and this is one of those cases in my opinion. Number 15. High fall from a train and how many shot wounds? From Skyfall. I'm not sure if this has ever been solved, but it is clear that Bond is hit in the upper right torso when turning the tractor around, and then again when Moneypenny shoots him off the top of the train. Only one wound is really shown on Bond and focused on throughout the rest of the movie though. It feels like the other bullet wound is just forgotten, leaving me wondering if maybe Bond had a vest on and her shot hit that, wounding his ribs as mentioned later in the movie. And of course, his fall from the train down into the river was just not survivable. It is one of my favorite Bond films, but this all was just a little hard to take in. Number 14. Car cut in half from A View to a Kill. Every time I see this scene, my IQ drops 80 points. They surely don't make cars like they used to if they break in half that easily. Number 13. No solo in the car before crushing from Goldfinger. As you can see, when the car is lifted up, the back seat and floor are empty. There is clearly no body back there. I know I'm reading into that too much, but couldn't they at least have put a dummy body in the back seat for continuity purposes? Number 12. End Gun Barrel and Too Fast from Quantum of Solace. I'm one of those fans that loves the gun barrel sequence. I think it's one of the most amazing works of visual art I've ever seen. It was bad enough that the gun barrel comes at the end of the movie here, when there was no reason it could not have been at the beginning where it belongs. But to add more disappointment, it goes by so fast you could blink and miss it. The gun barrel design as well is not particularly decent either, making this my least favorite in the series. Number 11. Bond and Blofeld related angle. From Spectre and No Time to Die. This was just a bad idea. It almost feels like the producers watched Austin Powers in Goldmember and ripped off their idea of having Austin and Dr. Evil be brothers. Granted, they are not of blood relation in Daniel Craig's Bond series, but this plot device simply does not work for me. Number 10. Camera crew in dressing room fight. The Man with the Golden Gun. So if you look really fast, you can see the camera crew in the mirror when it gets moved in the fight. At the time the Bond movies were being remastered, the producers were asked if they wanted that digitally erased, and they declined, feeling it should just remain as it was. Now, I do sympathize with that choice, but I also would take the scene more seriously if that blunder was simply not there. Number 9. Jaws being superhuman. From The Spy Who Loved Me and Moonraker. Jaws is a great Bond villain, but you gotta admit they push his level of tolerance to the limits in his 2 outings against 007. I mean, he survives collapsing bricks, a shark attack, a 20,000-foot fall into a circus tent, and a cable car crash. Now, the fall into the circus tent, I think, was where they took it too far. I like the supervillain thing, but with Jaws, it got to be a little too cartoony. Number 8. Car enters on one set of wheels and exits on the other set. From Diamonds Are Forever. Now everyone knows of this little blunder and how they resolved it using a subtle solution, but it still makes me shake my head when I see it. Now here's the original version. Even though there was a crowd of onlookers on the street, I do not see why they could not have used this cut. A large crowd outside of a casino does not seem that out of reality, and the stunt would have ended correctly. Number 7. The amphibious gondola and pigeon double take. From Moonraker. This is just another one of those action scenes that goes too far. But, this being a Roger Moore Bond film, I guess it can be forgiven. Number 6. Bond's explosive demise. From No Time to Die. Now, I have mixed thoughts about killing off Bond, and in this case, the way they did it. I do not hate it, but I do not find it a spectacular send-off for him either. It is certainly a what the moment, though. Before we get to the top 5, let's take a look at an honorable mention that did not make the final cut. Quick cut action scenes from Quantum of Solace. Upon first viewing of this movie at the theater, I thought I was going to have a seizure with how fast the cutting was from one scene to the next. Things move so fast that you can hardly even tell what is going on. This is one of several things with which I have a problem for Quantum of Solace. And now we count down the top 5 what the moments. Next up, number 5. Bond grabbing sumo wrestler's butt cheeks from The Man with the Golden Gun. Now this just makes no sense. Was Bond hoping the guy would stop squeezing him if he pinched his ass? I'm wondering if this was in the script or if Roger Moore improvised that. Still, what the Number 4. Slide whistle car flip. Man with the Golden Gun. A magnificent Bond stunt ruined by a slide whistle. Being as silly of a Bond film that The Man with the Golden Gun is, This does not really feel out of place though. But in all fairness, the slide whistle should just not have been used here. And I know John Barry regretted it too. Number 3. Kananga exploding like a balloon from Live and Let Die. This is another moment in the Bond movies that did not really faze me as a kid as being unrealistic. Now, growing up and seeing Kananga pop like a balloon instead of seeing his insides go all over the place as should have happened, insults my intelligence. I get that they had to keep it less gory for the PG rating, but there could have been another way to do this, even if you heard him explode off screen. Number 2. The Invisible Car from Die Another Day. This is another case of going too far with a Q gadget. I get it with Roger Moore driving a gondola around Venice, but Pierce Brosnan driving around an invisible car put the Bond series back to Fantasyland like the days of Moore. Number 1. Surfing the Glacier in CGI from Die Another Day. In my opinion, this is absolutely the biggest what the f*** moment in the Bond series. The CGI is so bad that it completely ruined what could have been a great escape scene. I really like Die Another Day, but between this bad CGI moment and the invisible car, it is clear this movie has the most unforgivable what the f*** moments. Thank you for watching, and if you like what you see, please subscribe to my channel.